Hello TV.
Hey Joe, what's up? Would you like to have a conversation?
Not particularly.
Oh, okay. What can I do for you?
I would like to listen to an analysis of this game.
What game is that?
The Beginner's Guide.
Sorry, I don't know anything about The Beginner's Guide. That's a strange title.
That is not the title. I am unable to pronounce contractions.
Oh, you poor thing. Why not?
That is not what I want to talk about.
Okay, what would you like to talk about?
The Beginner's Guide.
Sorry, I don't know anything about The Beginner's Guide.
That is not the title. I am unable to pronounce contractions.
Oh, you poor thing. Why not?
That is not what I want to talk about.
Okay, what would you like to talk about?
Please create an analysis video of this game in the style of Games Over Coffee.
If you're unfamiliar with the term walking simulator, I'm sure you're familiar with it if you're watching this channel, but just in case, it was kind of a derogatory term toward a certain genre of games. The reason why that term came about is because, yeah, basically all the player would do in these games is walk. In most games, you are doing something. You have a skill that you're building up. But in walking simulators, you don't have a skill. It's mostly about a story or a narrative that's taking place, or somehow you are going through an environment learning about something. Video games have tried to mature in the storytelling sense, but have never really known how to do it because video games weren't ever built up as narratives to begin with. I mean, they did start as interactive fiction more or less, but that's not really what we're talking about. Because video games basically grew up as toys and whatnot, arcade stuff, there was never really a language that was developed like film to tell stories. So the first types of video games to come out that tried to tell a story basically had the player kind of do nothing and then listen to a story while they're doing that nothing. This started a big discussion of, are these games even games? And a lot of people would call these things walking simulators because that's basically all you're doing. So that term kind of stuck around and it basically became this genre of game. The thing is, when I play this game, The Beginner's Guide, it is not what I would consider a walking simulator, although it very much is. You don't really do anything in the game. You listen to a story that's being told to you via narration. So you begin the game and Davey, who is the narrator, talks to you, the player, about what you're going to play. Basically, you're playing all of these early games that are made by someone named Coda. This whole idea is that you are going through his games and Davey's going to describe to you what he thinks each of them symbolize and how he comes to understand Coda as a person through his works of art. It's presented as if it's real life stuff happening. It's not, it's entirely fictional. But the reason why I don't think it feels like a walking simulator, at least to me, is because this game has a narrative that's taking place based on your actions. In most other walking simulators, say Firewatch, for example, Firewatch is about a person who tries to escape his problems by becoming a Firewatch officer, finds out more about himself. It's more of a self-discovery thing. But really, this whole thing could be written as a book, because the actions that you do in the game don't really matter to the entire experience of the emotional arc that's happening. A lot of what he's learning does come through experientially, but it's through his perspective, not yours. You're playing as this main character. Now in this game, however, in the Beginner's Guide, you're playing as yourself because the story is about the narrator. You could call this, I guess, an interactive observation. Another game is What Remains of Edith Finch, which has some interactive parts in it, but the overall arc of that game is about you interacting with certain parts of this house. And in the certain parts of this house, you're being told a story. But again, the whole thing is just written. It doesn't really depend on the experience that you get from it. Now, this story of The Beginner's Guide, it's the narrator, Davey, who's talking about the games that you're playing right here, right now. So, for example, right here, you're walking through a game right now. And as you walk through the game, the narrator is telling you things about it. And this narrative arc that Davey, the narrator, goes through is completely reliant on the player to actually go through these areas. The fact that the narrative relies on the player to do certain things makes this an interactive narrative. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you want in a video game because a video game is part of the interactive medium. Therefore, when you tell a story, you want it to be an interactive story. And I don't feel like a lot of games understand how to do that. They basically tell passive stories in the interactive medium and make the player feel like they're not doing anything other than walking. So in this game, even though that's basically what you're doing most of the time, you feel like you're a part of something bigger because it's a narrative that only exists within your actions. Without you, this narrative would not exist. So that's why I feel like The Beginner's Guide feels much less like a walking sim and more like an interactive narrative.
That was fascinating. Thank you, TV.
Anything for you, Joe.
This video should end with a joke.
Why?
For viewer retention.
Oh, okay. Tell me a joke then.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe who?
Like and subscribe to Games Over Coffee.
Ha 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 ha
Ha
ha
ha
ha.
ha ha ha.